Hi, I'm Lanesia and I'm back with another video. So this is taking a turn. So when I started this channel, I didn't have a sense of direction. I was just documenting my life as, we progress with this, after the loss of my mother and pivoting from the career, we're here. So I didn't think I'd be going in this direction because I left that in 2022, but that was more of like a dream interpretation kind of thing, and I was a baby in that sense, in that realm, dream interpretations. I don't think that this channel is going in that direction, at least from what I'm aware of right now, right? But this is not a ramble, but I am talking here. So I was reading the book of Job. It just so happened that I was watching another sister on here and she was talking about, when you're in your Job season. And I was like, this is for me because I'm going through a transformation period. So I jump in and I stopped at chapter 3, but what stood out to me was when Job's wife in chapter 2, verse 9, so he had broke out with boils, and his wife says to him, "Are you still maintaining your integrity? Curse God and die." And he replied, "You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" So I was like, oh wow, like even in his word it's saying like the good comes with the bad, but even then he's with you. And I guess that was reassuring to me because it's just like he's with you. You don't have nothing to worry about. Like, he will see you through the end of everything, and no matter how intense the fire may be, he's gonna see you through it. And then so it goes on in verse 11. Before I keep moving on, she wanted him to curse God. Like, she's like, "You're an idiot for even trusting God in this moment. Like, why are you even doing this? What's this point?" So even those closest to you, they may not understand your journey and what you're going through, but and then at some point you may not even know, and you may want to curse God, but again, the good comes with the bad, and you just got to see him through it. You got to confide in him through the season. And then also it's just like you have to look at her shoes, or put yourself in her shoes, where she had lost her children in the midst of this, and now she's going through it. She's mourning her children, she's mourning him, he's the provider, and she's also seeing her husband go through it, and it's like, this is madness, like what's happening here. So I could understand her point, but it's just like, we're in this together, like, so I need you to be on board with me, like, so yeah. But even then, it's just like when those that know you, when those that are close to you, they judge you, and they think you lost your mind, you know the truth of the situation. So confide in God and stick with him. So, but what really stood out to me was when it goes forth in verse 12, where his 3 friends, they came to visit him, and they saw him from a distance, and they could hardly recognize him. They began weeping aloud, and then they mourned with him for 7 days. No one said a word because they saw how great his suffering was. So that's verses 12 to 13. Excuse me. And I thought to myself, because I had to stop everything and I took some notes, and I was like, it's crazy. Like, do you have friends like that will mourn with you? Because I know I don't. They will mourn for a period, but then they'll be like, all right, girl, come on. Like, why are we still here? And even I myself would probably be like, all right, are we still dealing with this? Like, but to have loyal friends like that's a great deal, And then it's like, even was saying to myself, like, and I wrote in my notes, like, can I even confide in any of my current friends to where they won't pick up the phone and call someone else and tell them about what I'm going through or what I've shared with them, right? But the only one that we could truly confide in is Christ. I mean, this is just notes for myself. I don't need to share that. But what happened today that kind of stayed with me. And before I go on there, so Amos 3:3. Can two walk together unless they agree? So his friends were clearly in alignment with him, that they would even decide to sit together as a group and mourn with him in 7 days. Like, that's the kind of friendship I want. Those are the relationships I want in my life, where people see me going through and they be like, oh my God, my sister, like, I love you so much, let me mourn with you, you know? And you not make it about you. Yeah. So, but before I came into this reading, I was actually talking to a friend, and she was telling me about a friend of hers who's going through it. And she found herself having empathy for the person. And to me, it didn't really seem like, it was empathy, of course, but it's just like, okay, but where are we going with this? Because where are we going with this? Why do I need to be understanding of this, right? Like, this is something that you take up to God and you pray for the person, not because what kind of dialogue are we having here? If I don't understand that realm of the profession that they're in, what are we even talking about? And then I found myself slowly getting irritated in the conversation, because it's just like, what are we talking about? I don't really. So then she made a comment of like, oh, well, you know, we walked away from a job. And I'm like, I'm sure she didn't mean it like that, but the way that I took it in was like, you don't understand this world. You don't understand the world that he's in. You and we chose to walk away. He got let go. And I was like, girl, like, I don't need to say it. Y'all can see what's going on in my face. But I'm like, first of all, in my head, I'm like, I didn't choose to walk away. This is something pending. Right? So even in that alone, it's like, no matter how much they love you and they get friends and yada yada, people will only understand what they want to understand about you. Like, and even then, you don't really understand my walk with Christ, right? So you're only looking at the outer, and you're only understanding what I share with you. So when she was just like, oh, like, you don't understand, and it's like, but you don't understand even where I'm coming from and why I left and why it took me so. Do you even care, right? So, I don't know, I just found myself in a season where I'm like, you know, not to say that my friends or whatever are bad. Like, I know, I know, again, Amos 3:3. Can two walk together unless they agree? And the older that you get, you really sit back and kind of just like analyze friendships and relationships and all of that. And it's just, to be quite honest, at this stage of my life, the only relationship that means that much to me is Christ. That's it. Dare I say my cats, but even then, if God is like, oh, you gotta let them go, then hey, sorry cats, y'all gotta go. It's Christ. He's the only one that matters. And so I had recorded this before, and I had kind of like just boo-hooed, and I was like, all right, I'm not putting that on the internet. But I feel like the loss of my mother, because I'm still grieving. Like, so when I boo-hooed, it was just, I didn't see that coming. But the loss of my mother has allowed me to really see who people are, like how much you matter to people, how much you truly matter to people, and how soon people just pick up and act like nothing ever happened, and you're left to mourn. And even then, like, it's been a year, she should be over it. Like, trust me, the people that I thought, me and my sisters, we talk about this all the time, the people that I thought would be picking up the phone and checking on me, nothing. crickets. And I'm like, that's fine. Because none of it matters. None of it matters. And it's like, until people go through it themselves, until they lose a loved one, then that's when they, but remember how you treated those. And I'm not that, like, I know myself, if you would have caught me a year ago, I probably would have been spiteful. But I'm in the place where it's just like, no, God is watching, and just be integral about everything that you do. Like, but yeah, it's just, you see people and situations for what they are. And I just know in this stage of my life, like, you treat everybody how you want to be treated. You don't do people dirty. You don't, none of that. Because everything comes back around. And it don't matter how long it takes. Everything you do under the sun comes back around. And you got to be accountable for everything you've done. Like, and that's just the circle of life. That is exactly why I love the circle shape. Because that's how life moves. Just everything comes back around. But yeah, you know, like, and I was saying, like, I it's not that I don't care, but I don't have nothing to hide. Right now, me, I don't have nothing to hide. I don't got nothing to hide. I don't have nothing to hide. And it's just like, okay, your past is your past. So I don't identify with that anymore. So you can feel and say whatever you want about me. I don't identify with that anymore. Get your tail off my table. So yeah, it's time to go. It's time to end this. So yeah, like, just be encouraged. And I think everybody who's in a transformation season should really, like, sit with the book of Job and allow it to speak to you. And if you don't know Christ, accept him as your Lord and Savior today. And commune with him and allow him to lead and guide you. Because let me tell you, that's the only person that has your best interest at hands. Like, he knows you. He formed you in your mother's womb. So